Welcome to Same Cast, Different Day podcast. I'm Martel Roland.
And I'm the co-host, Crystal B. How's everyone doing this evening?
And welcome to this episode. So, just a brief recap because now we can do this now. On the last episode, we talked about mental health check.
Yes.
Or did we call it mental health check-in? I gotta stop drinking.
It's a mental health checkup.
Yeah,
We
so
did. So we did.
so just for you guys out there, yes, I'm good. I'm doing better. I'm awesome right now. And I have my glass of wine, so I'm happy.
You got your wine? I'm drinking some tea. My mug is from the UK, so to all the British folks out there and
Oh
drinking
my
their say.
goodness. And before we get things started, I just want to do a shout out real quick to some listeners. So I'm just going to read out some of the areas that you guys are listening from. United States, Brazil, India, Germany, Puerto Rico, United Kingdom, Australia, Canada, Thailand, Ukraine, and Senegal. Thank you all who for tuning in and streaming this podcast. That means a lot that this is being heard worldwide. So thank you all so much for that. Um, and then moving along, guys. So my tangent for this podcast episode, I guess we're gonna start off if I have a tangent for that episode, we're gonna start off the episode with my tangent. So my tangent this week
What
is
is your tangent this week, Martel?
well
Because
for this Thursday podcast episode. Um, so
so
my,
what's your beef, buddy? What is your beef, honey? What is it?
so my tangent is with World Wrestling Entertainment this week. And no, it's not because of storylines. It's not because of botches. It's not because of bad business. It's all because of a pay-per-view name.
Okay.
And what pay-per-view are you guys think I'm thinking about? Extreme Rules that just happened this past Sunday. So back in
Well,
the day,
tell me about it, sir. Let's hear about
it
it.
was actual good pay-per-view. Some of the matches were good. I actually was able to stay woke during the whole thing. Um, But the thing is, back in the day, Extreme Rules mean that every match on that card was contested under Extreme Rules, some type of extreme match. And it took me after about two hours of watching this pay-per-view to realize none of the matches were Extreme Rules matches. They're just
So
like regular matches with rules. Like the whole point of Extreme Rules is when you have like they do like hardcore matches where they get to use
yeah.
like weapons and all this other kind of stuff during matches.
Mhm.
They didn't have any of that. Only one match out of that whole entire pay-per-view was Extreme Rules, and that was the main event. So I waited 2.5 hours for one match to be contested on Extreme Rules. Like,
That's
why
it.
it that's it. I'm like, why is this pay-per-view even called Extreme Rules? Why did y'all advertise the one night where WWE goes extreme and then nothing extreme happened for 2.5 hours? Oh my god, I was so pissed off. Please change the name. If you're do not have a pay-per-view called Extreme Rules if you're not going to have Extreme Rules matches, for God's sake. It pissed me off.
Okay. All right. So any more on the tangent, sir? Any more? By the way, hello to our Clapper listeners. By the way, we are actually live on Clapper right now. So thank you very much, Clapper. Thank you so
Hello,
much.
Clapper.
Thank you so much, everyone. It's great to have our listeners out there. We have just one in here, so by all means, and
Yeah.
thank you for the compliment. Someone left me a nice little compliment. So thank you very much, dear.
I'm still pissed off.
Okay, any
Two and a
more?
half hours. 2.5 hours for one Extreme Rules match. What? Who wrote this, man? Who wrote this script? Who
Okay,
who
so
who
for
thought of this?
108, so for 180 minutes, okay, it just was no fun, no fun at all.
No, I mean, no, like
No,
the actual
nothing.
matches that they had were good. It was an entertaining card, but at the same time, it took me 2.5 hours to like realize that none of this was Extreme Rules. This was like a regular SummerSlam or Money in the Bank pay-per-view type thing, where it just was like a standard WWE pay-per-view. Like, don't advertise it as the one night where WWE goes extreme and all this extreme stuff supposed to happen and nothing extreme happens. Like, except until the main event, and it ending kind of pissed me off a little, but still, damn it, Why can't they just get it right? Vincent Kennedy McMahon, please, please step down as CEO, chairman, whatever your job is of World Wrestling Entertainment. Please step down and let your son-in-law Paul, aka Triple H, and your son Shane McMahon and Stephanie run a company, because you don't have that. You don't have it no more. You are not connected with your audience anymore. You just don't know today's market. It's time to step down. Let it go, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. Let it go.
Okay, there it is. There it is. There it is. I mean,
So
so your rant about the extreme WWE sucked. It just sucked.
yeah, it was a good pay per view. I'm not saying the pay per view wasn't bad. I'm not saying it sucked. I was just mad that don't call something Extreme Rules or have something that's supposed to be like 1990s ECW, where there's just like supposed to be barbed wire and stuff, just somebody flying through a table or something, just stuff, violence, and it just didn't happen.
You know what? I'm gonna take a second over here because actually we have actually a gentleman I believe is from Canada. So, hello from the U.S. here from the States, and thank you for joining the Clapperts and thank you for joining us on our podcast.
Hello to my friend in Canada. How are you?
We love all our friends all around the world wherever you are.
Hope you're enjoying your
Cheers.
cold weather.
Cheers to you if you're drinking tea, wine, water, whatever.
I don't know if they are French Canadian. I don't think they're too much into tea. If they're French Canadian,
Yeah, I believe more. I believe more into the wine, but I could really.
yeah. I don't think French Canadians are that much into tea. Like, yeah, but yeah, that was my tangent for this week with World Wrestling Entertainment. So you guys, I was really debating whether I should talk about this on the podcast, so I might just talk about it.
All right,
but
come on.
I'm not gonna name drop. I'm not gonna do any of that stuff.
Come on, stop teasing people. Come on, stop teasing me. Come on.
So,
I want to hear this.
this is allegedly happened. Not saying we don't know if it was for sure, but there's a video going around on TikTok where a manager from a certain place was caught with their how do I put it? One of their siblings fighting a pregnant girl 2-on-1.
Okay, so two people were fighting
a
pregnant female.
Yes, but the sibling was also pregnant. So it was basically two pregnant girls, and then somebody else jumped in who wasn't pregnant, and so it became a 2-on-1 on one of the other pregnant girls. And this person, and like we're told,
yeah, cool.
And a lot of jobs that I have taught, or people who at their jobs who I've talked to, are told that even when they are off the clock, they still represent the company, even though they're off the clock. And this person, who happened to be a manager, was caught off the clock doing this, and still has a job somehow.
Wow.
And we're like, wow. And all of this is because allegedly, because this all allegedly happened. It hasn't been confirmed, but this all allegedly happened because the sibling baby daddy slept with this girl, and he had got both the girls pregnant at the same time. And there's more to the story, but I can't really tell more to the story just yet because I have to figure out how to change people's names so that, for legal reasons. So I have to figure out how to change people's names to tell the rest of the story. But I'm going to leave you guys with that. And then come Tuesday, I will probably have it figured out when I can tell you guys the rest of the story.
Oh, come Thursday, he means?
No, Tuesday. Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah, next week Tuesday they'll hear what the finale of that, hopefully. If I got to forgot to change names and I'm gonna try to get some more information on this story to
So,
bring to
so,
you guys.
um, so, so, like, if you had it was a guy and two women, or is it
This is
two guys, all females?
all females.
It could be Cindy. Like, you can name one Cindy, one Jennifer, one I don't know, maybe Kimberly. I don't know. How's that sound? Just random
I
names.
have to get some more news because, and then next week Thursday,
I mean, it could be Marsha,
it could. I
Roxanne,
mean,
Suzanne, Shania. There we go. Those
I
are all
mean,
good names.
right now, I won't be able to tell the story without using actual names right now because it's still kind of fresh. So I wouldn't be able to tell the story without dropping names right now. We're actually
Makes,
dropping real names, I should say.
makes sense. That makes
So
sense.
that's I'll wait till I'm able to tell the story when I'm not dropping real names during the
By the
recording.
by the way, I want to shout out to my girl out there in Colorado. So appreciate you being on the live with us tonight. Thank you so much.
But
The
yeah, and then I have another scoop about some stuff that been going on in somebody's workplace.
oh
Um, that involves purchases being made for uh services. But I get it. That'll be next week Thursday. But that you they'll get that.
oh, just tease like a big old
They gotta tune in to get the rest of the story.
tease.
They gotta tune in. And also, before we get too far, don't forget to head over to cafepress.com/SCDD podcast to get your official podcast merch like this shirt that I'm wearing, and it comes in multiple colors also. So make sure y'all head over to cafepress.com/SCDD podcast for all your podcast merch.
That's right.
I'll be forgetting to mention that at the beginning of the podcast,
And don't forget, if you actually see us out on the road anywhere in America, or maybe if we make it overseas some day in our life, we will actually sign your merch for you for free. We will sign it up. We will
Well,
actually.
it's my goal to get to the UK, so I will be going to the UK and London and Paris. Those are some of my goals to get over there. So
We will get out there, and hopefully maybe we'll actually get some merch in. Probably maybe someone might get a Christmas present this year, maybe depending on who
if
our
we
best.
if we get some sponsors to get you guys free merch, why not?
Yeah, we're working on it, but by all means, if you know anyone out there would like to sponsor us, by all means, we would love to have it because we want to give that love right back to you.
Mm-hmm.
As I would always say, you always do hashtag share the love. Okay,
That is
share the
correct.
love. Always do it.
So, I believe this is Monday. This news broke. I'm sorry that you guys are getting this on Thursday, but but we have to talk about it because it's gonna be something that's gonna be talked about for a while now, and that will be R. Kelly.
Oh,
If
oh,
you don't know by now, R. Kelly has been he's been found guilty, I believe, of racketeering and sex trafficking. I believe was the charges. Somebody said, from what I heard, that he was facing up to 120 years in prison
oof,
with the charges.
oof.
And then here's the thing that really bothers me about the whole R. Kelly situation. Like his ex-wife, I should say, really pissed me off. Um, because she was like, if these women who came forward and talked about what went on with R. Kelly, she basically said if these victims, if any of his victims were blonde hair, had blonde and blue eyes. Wait, what? If any of his victims were blonde and blue eyed, uh, it wouldn't have taken this long for charges to be brought up against her husband. She claimed that she lived
Really?
in fear and stuff, but she claimed like she made it seem like she was living in fear with this man and all this kind of stuff. But my thing is though, the reason why it took so long because for one, R. Kelly had money during the time all this happened, and these women were willing. I don't care how anybody put it. They were like, oh my god, this is R. Kelly, especially back in the 90s, and like the women who really knew R. Kelly. Like, come on, like you watch some of his concert videos, all the women was just on R. Kelly.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like I'm not shooting down like people who actually have gone through situations like this. I get it, but for this situation, these women were willing to go to R. Kelly. Like, oh, R. Kelly said if I let him pee on me, he'll help me start my music career or my acting career or my modeling career. And these women were thought they were going to get things like this out of him. And then when the money ran dry and he's broke, now you all want to come forward with, oh, he abused me or he took my daughter hostage. Like, who's to say that he didn't give you $100,000 to say, hey, send your daughter to my house and I give you $100,000? Like, you women were willing, and you were willingly sending your children to his house. I don't. A
So
lot of people keep on saying that he did stuff with underage girls, and maybe the whole thing with Aaliyah, yeah. But I'm like, after the whole Aaliyah thing, I think he kind of learned his lesson. Um, the whole underage thing, I just don't see that.
so really, um,
Oh, Crystal lost her train of thought. Everybody.
no, 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 that's fine. No, I'm just read the comments here. So,
Oh, but yeah, I'm like I said, I'm not taking anything away from abusers and like people who have actually gone through situations like that. I just feel like when it comes to celebrities, a lot of women are down for it as long as they're getting some money out of it or something out of it, whether it's fame, money, whatever. A lot of women are down for it just to get that start of my I want to be famous career. And then, like I said, when the money ran dry, it's like they all turn their back on them. Like, oh, well, I'm going to report you for sexual harassment. And that's how I feel like this whole R. Kelly situation played out. Like, if R. Kelly still had money and was on top of the world and being R. Kelly, this probably wouldn't have happened. Probably 95% would have believed this wouldn't happen.
two sides of the story.
Yeah.
Just reading a comment here from someone that didn't really feel, it wasn't, she kind of didn't really feel comfortable with that, and that's okay. Everyone has their where they're comfortable at, so that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not, we're not here we're just expressing our thoughts. Again, again, what R. Kelly did, um, you know, there's probably a lot of people out there that take advantage of people with money,
Mm-hmm.
or do things that they probably shouldn't be doing. Really. And I'm not going to tell you on a female level it's good or bad. I'm telling you that if you choose to do this because you're poor or you just need money, there's other ways to make money. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you should look at what you do before you make that decision. I mean, I'm not siding with R. Kelly or against. I'm just saying, look at your logic. What are you doing? Let's look at what's the better thing to do.
Right. I'm not saying that it was okay that he did some of the
No,
stuff that the people were claiming. I'm
no.
not saying it was okay. I'm just saying a lot of people, a lot of them people were just willing to do it. Just like they just like tell me like right now these tweens and stuff that these girls that love Justin Bieber. You wouldn't think if Justin Bieber would have said he probably wouldn't even have to pay him. If Justin Bieber would have said, "Hey, come over my house and let me pee on you," you think them girls will pass up that opportunity to get peed on by Justin Bieber? I'm just saying.
I mean, that alone, I gotta be honest with you, the whole, like, whatever, like,
I
stuff
mean, I mean,
that
they
just
trying to say that he
out
had like a
everywhere.
whole separate house on his property that was full of women that he just go in there and have sex with them, and these women just lived in this whole separate house, and he was holding them captive and all this kind of stuff. Like, first, he has so much money, and like that takes so much time and effort for that at that time. I'm sorry, especially
So,
for the amount of women that they're claiming. Like, that's just too much time and effort.
one of my friends here on Clapper's asking who else is talking. So actually, just so you know, everyone from Clapper, everyone knows here on our they'll be on YouTube is that actually the host, Mr. Martel Roland, is actually talking. I'm just the co-host. I'm just a
Hello,
little co-host.
everybody.
So shout out to my girls out there, out in the West Coast. I'm holding down that W very well.
I
The
mean,
best
I'm
ghost.
just speaking from, but kind of from looking it out from the
I see.
outside and on the whole situation. Like I said, it wasn't right that he held them. If he did held them girls captive. um I don't see how sex trafficking really played into that whole thing. I don't see how he was sex trafficking girls, but okay. But
I mean, do they actually have evidence? This is my was question. You
I,
know,
I think
it
a lot of it was just based on all these different women's testimony.
okay.
I don't know if they had like actual evidence that they brought to court, like, hey, he paid this and this and this and this. I don't know if they actually had that kind of evidence. It was just like this whole story came out on, I think it was Lifetime. They produced this like series or story movie thing, and it was called Surviving R. Kelly. And then right after that literally airs, he's in jail. And all this is just based off of women coming forward with this testimony without, I don't think they really had really any physical proof that he really did these things. So basically, like I have seen on like you see on some shows where there's a jury involved in making a decision whether somebody's guilty or not. When it comes to situations like this, like even though they didn't have physical evidence to prove that this person did it, they will basically play on the jury's emotions
Mm,
to get the conviction. And
yeah,
I believe that's what happened within this situation, is
no,
that they tried to make the jury feel sorry for all these people to get him convicted, guilty. And then another reason why I feel like they was pushing so hard to get this guilty verdict is because Bill Cosby got out of jail. He's basically off the hook for whatever happened he did. And so what the thing with Bill Cosby, they said that was like 30 years ago, right? Because I'm trying to think like 30 years ago, because Bill Cosby been old my whole life. So I'm thinking like 30 years ago, this man was like 80. Like 30 years ago, he was probably what, 50s,
hmm
40s, or like I don't know, like did he even have the energy to be trying to drug women at that age? Like
I
at that age, he had enough money just like, hey, bitch, here's $400. Come suck my dick. I'm just saying.
I mean, maybe I, I thought, like to me, I really love the Cosby Show. I thought it was like awesome,
Yeah.
straight up. Like that was like everybody's life. Like everyone would watch, the husband and wife, and they had three kids, and you see which everyone had like there was something always went on. If it wasn't Dr. Cosby,
Right.
Dr. Bill, and then it was this and that. I think I believe Dr. Bill was a therapist. I think.
I think he was actual doctor on the show, like a
Was he a doctor?
physician.
Okay. Okay,
I
physician?
think his wife might have been a therapist or something
Okay.
like that.
Okay, he was
I
okay.
think they both was a doctor, but I think she was like a therapist or something like that. I'm not sure.
But everyone grew up with them. And like everyone just like loved,
Hmm.
just like and then all of a sudden this stuff gets thrown down, you're like,
And even his TV wife stood by his side, Felicia Rashad.
yeah.
She stood by him during this whole thing.
I mean, even the R. Kelly thing, like I was like, wait, what? Like, I mean, I understand he got in trouble years ago for dog fighting and stuff like that.
That
He,
wasn't R. Kelly.
oh, that wasn't R. Kelly?
That was the football player.
Oh, the football.
I
Oh,
forgot.
okay.
Vic, something Vic, Michael Vick.
Michael
That
Vick.
was the
Oh,
dog
okay,
fighting thing. But
okay.
yeah,
I
Michael
got it
Vick.
mixed up. I got it mixed up. I got it mixed up. But just think, I mean, all of a sudden it's just like, bam, the stuff just comes right out of nowhere. It's just like,
Yeah.
and you, to me, to me, instead of leaning, hey, listen, everyone, we just need to lean one way, one
Hmm.
side. We need to put this person behind bars. So just lean with us until we can get evidence.
Hmm.
So my question is, normally you would have evidence. Normally you're convicted guilty with evidence.
Hmm.
If you did something, normally a district attorney or a judge, they would have information right there.
Right.
It
That's what I'm saying. I'm not sure if they even had like
puzzles me to
physical evidence. Like I don't know if they had like semen evidence. Like I don't know because far as
I,
I know, far as the public goes, like they have never said or said like, hey, this was presented in R. Kelly's trial as evidence. Like none of that was presented. Like even with Bill Cosby case, like his whole case is just based off of women testimony
Yeah. Hmm.
and without actual proof that he actually did these things. Like they just played on the emotions of the jury
The,
to get
the
this conviction.
the thing is that what are they getting out of it? You can confess some. I mean, if you did, you do confess because you feel the person's in the wrong, fine.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not getting paid from this. I mean, you're gonna get like you'll get TMZ and all these other little things that I want to take. You know,
But for them, they do get fame off of this because a lot of these women were featured on with even with R. Kelly. A lot of these women were featured on TV. They were getting interviewed by TMZ and local newspapers and stuff. So they did get something out of it. Like I'm pretty sure Lifetime didn't when they did the Surviving R. Kelly thing, I believe none of the women did that for free. You know they all got some money for doing that.
so I mean, if you're gonna get money, I get but it's just crazy that all of a sudden this stuff just like boom, snap, it's there. Like what the
Yeah. So, because on the next episode of the podcast, also, I want to talk about it's this TV show. I haven't got a chance to watch the episode yet, but it's called the Dark Side of the Ring, where they tell stories about basically back in the day of wrestling when kayfabe was still a thing, where a lot of these wrestlers outside of the business, they back then they were actually live these personas out in person to keep up with kayfabe or whatever. And so in the late 90s, I want to say late 90s, early 2000, they did this episode where they were sending a lot of wrestlers back in the day after shows and stuff to get women. They were drug the women and have sex with them. So it's something I want to discuss on the podcast. I have yet to watch the episode, but it is something I definitely will be watching to discuss.
So you know what? I know we got just a few minutes left here for we call that a night. But I gotta, Martel, I'd like to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
So not a tangent. Crystal B's got a question, okay?
You're
So
allowed to have tangents.
so I would like to know is that as I'm going through different social medias, I understand that doing podcasting does come with some goods and drawbacks. Now there are people that will criticize myself or you for little things.
That is true.
Like we actually did in season 3. Towards the end, we had OMG. This is Brian, one of our guests that come on. Now we were talking about my surgery and private things about my surgery. Now I was giggling and laughing, okay, and someone called me out on it from one of the social media
Were
apps.
you giggling during the OMG Brian thing?
Yes, yeah. So I was giggling about when we were talking about my surgery and stuff like that.
Okay. So with that though, because you don't want to you don't want to create an uncomfortable environment. Because at the
No.
same time we're doing this podcast, this is like a second job. It's still almost like a workplace
Yeah.
environment.
Mhm.
So when you're doing those things, and say for instance, if you want to have them guests come on, you want them to feel comfortable,
Yeah.
but then at the same time, just so that you don't have like that on camera drama. So like now our videos are posted on YouTube. So when you don't want to see have that on camera drama show on camera and keep it professional, you do what you have to get through it. And then that's something like you said, you guys talked about and handled in private
Yeah. And
afterwards.
again, I'm not and like if someone judged me on it from a social media app. Again, we don't get into details with names or whatever
Yeah.
it was. We keep it professionally. This is a business, so but to me, I think that person should not be calling people out, including myself.
Hmm.
My opinion. I think it's wrong. If you want to call somebody out, then have a verbal to verbal, not a text messaging conversation.
I mean,
You know,
and even if they, because along the way, people are, no matter what we do because of what we're doing on the podcast, there are going to be people who's going to disagree with us and call us out all the time.
mhm.
And like I said, back when I was doing YouTube in the early 2010s, when people would make comments and go in the comments and say stuff that was mean or hurtful, it used to bother me. But over time, I've got a thick skin because obviously, if they're bothered by something, that means we're doing something right to get their attention to watch in the first place.
True. That's true. Hmm.
So I mean, they have the choice to sit there and watch and listen. I mean, you don't. It's like not like we put a gun to your head, say, "Hey, watch and listen to this episode or our podcast." We're not doing that. You
No.
chose to listen to it. And if you didn't like what was heard, then you could, like I said, you could just wrote a review or whatever, or a comment and left it at that, and or say, hey, or on Facebook, you guys, you go to the Same Cast Different Day podcast Facebook page, you can privately message us, and then within 24 hours, either me or Crystal will message you back if you
Yep.
have any concerns about anything that was discussed on the podcast. So, I mean, it's ways to get in contact with us.
And we are more than willing, even if there is some like feedback in our we always try to like we'll talk about that previous episode or previous episodes and be like, hey, so and so, or we'll just say the person's name is Angie. Angie commented on Facebook saying, I'm kind of curious about this or that. Well, then good news. Okay, we can talk about this and explain a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more into detail. We're willing to educate you, okay, while we're getting educated. It's
Yeah.
like a two-way street.
And then one of the things about this podcast, I always tell people, we are unfiltered, like we in unfiltered and uncensored and I'm getting a little bit tipsy.
Uncensored.
We are uncensored and unfiltered when it comes to this podcast. And I always tell people, like, people always ask, what is your podcast about? It's about everything. And the thing about it is, we're not afraid to touch the topics that people find too touchy. And that's one of the things that I want to bring to people's attention. Some people might find the whole R. Kelly and him raping women or having sex with little girls, or Bill Cosby drugging people, or people getting peed on. We're going to talk about it because, we're not afraid to talk about it, because some things just needs to be talked about.
Yeah. Mhm.
And that's the problem with what's going on right now. People don't want to talk about things, and they want to sweep things under the rug, and then later on it becomes this real big issue, like the whole Me Too movement. Let's just say, like, but maybe the Me Too movement would have happened earlier on in maybe in the 90s or in the 80s or 70s, if people would just spoke up then. But some
Mhm.
people were so worried about their careers and what was going to happen and their livelihood and all this kind of things, so people don't speak up, and then don't want to put things out there, and then generations of this built up, and then it just exploded, and then we had this large Me Too movement where we just saw all this shift and change happening. And that's one thing we need to stop doing, is trying to sweep things under the rug that we feel are uncensored, I mean, that are sensitive to, people. You can't do that.
No, we're here. We're gonna tell you how it is. This is it. We're gonna throw it at you, and either you're gonna accept it. We'll hear from you and you make comments. Throughout the different podcasts that we have, our platforms for our podcasts, and
Mm-hmm.
and our social medias. By all means, we're willing to listen to our viewers, to our listeners. We're willing to take that step,
And
but to understand that we will go the extra mile, and we will step out of everybody's single boundary. Your feelings may get damaged, because we're not here to protect you. We're here to educate and inform you and move forward. Excuse
mm-hmm.
my voice, but that's what we're here to do every
and
day.
we're still within the FCC regulations, by the way.
Yep. Yep.
So
So we don't swear, no vulgar language. We follow all the
you
same.
swear, we're allowed to swear
Well,
because we're not on TV, and technically we are a worldwide thing that's being sent content that's being sent out worldwide. We don't have to follow as many restrictions as there is for like TV and all them other things, because it's just, long as we're not on here talking about, terror, or or planning a terror or anything of that nature, we're fine.
no,
But we're allowed to swear, we're allowed to be adults, we're allowed to drink, we're allowed to do a lot of things on here. If I want to talk about prostitution, I'm allowed to talk about prostitution on here.
I mean, we talked in season 3 about panhandlers and homeless people. By all means,
I've
and we.
talked about Crystal going out hoeing. I'm
I,
allowed to do that.
I mean, my family members have heard talk about it. My family
Oh.
members have been like, "Who is this dude? This dude? Do you know this dude?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I know this dude," and he's like, he's a dude. Yeah, okay, guy's a
I
dude.
mean, if we want to talk about our hoeing days, we can talk about our hoeing days. I mean, I know Crystal needs some more hoeing days. She still got some hoeing days left in her, by the way, y'all. So make sure y'all, hit Crystal up,
Oh, gee.
because she got some hoeing days left.
So as we wrap this all up,
Wait,
every
we technically still have 15 minutes because we
no,
started late.
no, we'll just
Don't
stop it.
you try to wrap this up because I'm talking about your hoeing.
We'll wrap this up. We're at 8 o'clock. It's
She
good.
she she's blushing. She's blushing, everybody, because she don't want to admit that she still got some hoeing days. I still got some hoeing days left in me. I might make a phone
Hey,
call
buddy.
tonight about some hoeing.
Hey, buddy. I'm only in my early 30s. I look pretty good for it. I look pretty good.
See what I'm saying?
See?
We still got it.
I look good.
Speaking
Oh,
of, guys, I almost forgot. I'll be putting up my Christmas decoration starting this weekend. I will post pictures to keep you guys tuned in. So make sure you go follow me on Instagram, and don't forget to hit the follow page on Facebook, the Martel Rolling fan page. Make sure y'all go follow that. And I will post pictures on there to keep you guys updated on the progress. Last year, it took me 3 weeks to get up on my Christmas decoration. That was just outside. So I'm hoping to get it done in 2 weeks this year.
okay.
I don't know how.
So one of my girlfriends said, no, too early to be doing that stuff. So
Well, Christmas stuff?
yeah,
No, because she don't understand it's Wisconsin. It get below 24 degrees here sometimes get negative 40. I'm not trying to be outside blowing my hands and stuff going just trying to keep my hands and stuff warm to put up Christmas lights. I don't do that. So I put my lights up early to avoid being outside froze to death trying to put up Christmas lights.
just remember, we are Wisconsin made. We are Wisconsin made podcast. It does get cold up here. We are not. We are close to Canada.
It get colder than a penguin ass. We don't say that.
It gets cold and it gets snowy
Very
and,
snowy.
and it gets crazy here. So yeah. So but long story short is, one of my girlfriends on here, and she makes some fun adult stuff, which I will talk about some other time because actually that she's on here. We'll get her on as a guest.
Or it's like maybe we should bring her on as a guest so she can show us and we can talk about some of these products that she makes.
Yes, I think we should definitely do that. We will definitely have to bring her on.
We
She's
record on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 7 p.m. So let us know what day you willing to do this.
that is Central Daylight Time, or otherwise, if you're in military time, then that would be
I'm too drunk to think
hours.
I'm too
1900 hours. So if you want to do the 1900 hours, so if you could do
This
either one.
is a real good wine. You not understand. This is really good.
Hey, my tea is empty.
Oh,
Why don't
okay.
you fill that
Okay,
up?
hold on. Let me take it to the head.
My tea is gone. I need some more tea. I need some more tea, sir. Tea.
I'm trying to take it to the head here.
Butler, where's my butler? Where's my damn butler? What did you do? Fire him?
Oh, speaking of, I almost forgot about this, and it's kind of sad that stuff like this is going on.
What's that?
So I don't know, guys. Here in was almost like a suburban area of Milwaukee. So basically, this guy was ambushed in front of an Applebee's where two cars put up on each side of his SUV, and just started lighting up his SUV and killed them. And they don't know why. Nobody really knows why this happened. It was just he just pulled up and just literally executed this man. And they're still trying to figure out what happened, what's going on. And the crazy part about it is he had a passenger in his car and they cannot find the passenger. The passenger left him there to die. Didn't call 911, didn't say, hey, something happened, didn't call the family, nothing. They shut up the thing and he left. That's making me think if the passenger had something to do with it.
That's possible.
Because that just sounds too fishy for me.
Something doesn't sound right at all.
Like, I'm gonna keep y'all posted on this story, on what's going on with this story, because I just find that very fishy. And also, I don't mean sound like a jackass or sound very rude or sound like I'm heartless or I don't have a soul.
Wait, how rude?
But I'm so sick of hearing about this Gabby girl.
The Gabby.
I don't mean to sound so rude and heartless, but I'm at the point where there are more important issues going on in this world than her. And this has been going on now for what, 2 weeks? Okay, the boyfriend is missing, huh?
So wait, hold on before you get into it. Hold on. Now, what happened now? We've had a lot of murders in 2020, right? A lot of black, indigenous, and Asian people. Do
Yeah,
we hear a lot
they've
about
come
it?
up missing. They've been missing. Like there's
Yeah.
this one girl that I went to high school with, and I think she's been missing for like a week now, and it has not been on the news. It hasn't even been on a news website. But
So
you go
no,
ahead.
go. No, I mean to me, like, why are we just leaning on one?
This one missing girl.
Like,
Like I
okay,
don't get. It's she not even missing no more. Y'all found her body. Y'all found her body. We know she's dead. Y'all did an autopsy. We know she was murdered. What else is there to the story besides the boyfriend missing? We don't care. There are more issues out there to be talking about. There are more people out there that's actually still missing that
yeah.
people are looking for, and you guys are not even talking about it.
No, I mean it's
Like,
true
like the
because
girl that I went to high school with that's been missing. I don't even know if they found her, but yet the local news has not picked up that she's missing. But instead, you want to talk about this girl who's been found last week in Wyoming that we all know that's dead, been found dead. Okay, she was found dead. Can we please focus more on people who are still missing?
yes, I mean to me, I mean, and you, why is it just one person? And again, why is it got to be? And I'm not harassing white people, okay?
Yeah, I'm
But
not making a racial thing either, but I'm just saying.
why are we looking at everybody? Okay, okay, why? Because Gabby was what? Good looking. She was what? 19,
Innocent, good
20,
looking,
blah blah
had the
blah.
whole
Yeah,
American
yeah.
dream life going
Blah blah
on.
blah blah blah. But wait. What happened to like Brianna? What's her name? She
Breonna
was
Taylor.
yeah. She's a transgender woman. She was black.
Oh no,
Okay.
no, that's a different person. I thought you were talking about the one who got shot and killed. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, her name was Brianna. Yeah, that was her.
No,
She
I'm
was in.
thinking about the one who was in her. The police busted into her house and killed her. I thought you were
That's
talking about
her.
her.
That's her. That's her.
Okay,
Yep, that's the one. And she was a transgender woman. And
she
she was
wasn't
a
transgender.
yes, yes.
Breonna Taylor wasn't transgender. Wasn't transgender.
I believe they said she was. I
No, she
believe.
wasn't. She was
No,
born female.
was she?
Yeah.
Maybe you better Google that while we're doing this right now, buddy. You better take a look. But they just broke into her house and just took her out. She was a security guard. A security guard. Really?
Ambulance driver. No, I think she
Oh,
was a paramedic.
or paramedic. Okay, just
Yeah.
think. She's working ready. Okay, she's ready working with what I say, the blue division, red division, which is police and fire. Okay,
Hmm.
you're already working with two divisions. You should know who you are.
Exactly.
If someone had this chip on their shoulder and just wanted to one of these, one of those, yeah, that's I mean that's sad. If that's what happened, mm,
Yeah, but I'm like, it's just a lot more stuff that's going on out there that can be talked about and everything. Like, yeah, we came on here and talked about R. Kelly, but like I said, we can talk about whatever we want to, and we can talk about multiple topics throughout this episode, any episode.
we do.
And like I said, like just for it to constantly hear day after day after day after day, like the mystery has been solved. She's dead. We know she's dead. She was murdered. The boyfriend is missing. More likely he did it, but they probably gonna end up finding him dead eventually. So it's like at this point, why are we still covering this story when we have more pressing issues going on?
Let's move on. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to what's
Like,
going on in the
like
world.
it took for like just now, like instead of talking about the story that's been going on for 2 weeks, like they just mentioned today finally, like, oh, there might be another government shutdown. Oh, the US might default on their bills. Oh, or like there's just some government stuff that's been going on that hasn't been talked about until today that I didn't even know that was going on. Like there's just more pressing issues going on than this girl who we know that's dead and been murdered.
It is sad. It is to me. All these people that and I mean, I remember listening to I believe it was like a live or a radio, and they were even talking about back when Rodney King, right up until George Floyd, and how the breakdown was, and I was blown. Excuse me here. I was blown away by just how racially thrown people were into this, like saying like they had to beat the shit out of him just because, and he wasn't even George Floyd wasn't doing nothing. Okay, didn't have a weapon. Okay, Rodney King, he had no weapon, wasn't doing nothing. Again, nobody was doing anything wrong. You know,
Mm-hmm.
how do they know? How do they know that you know that George Floyd had fake, a counterfeit $20 bill? How do they know that? You know,
Stereotyping.
it's stupid. It's straight up pathetic. Now I don't go along with riots. Okay, I do go along with if you want to march because you want to make a statement. March. Put your signs up. Tell people what you're
So
for. I'm good with that.
So the reason why people riot is actually for a good reason. So a lot of people did march because before there was the rioting, there were peaceful marches and protests and things like that,
Mhm.
and yet people still wasn't being heard. Like even back when Trayvon Martin got killed, and they were doing all this, they did all the marching and they did the protesting, and nothing was done. People wasn't heard, and after a while, people get sick and tired of not being heard. So
Yeah.
what do you do to get heard? You write, you burn things down, and you don't burn. And a lot of these people they go and burn things down in areas where it don't necessarily affect them unless they're stupid. Unless it necessarily don't affect them, it affects the people who they want to hear them, and that's why people riot. So to me, it depends on the situation of
I,
why you're rioting
I mean, like I said,
to
no
get
one.
their attention. Because if it wasn't for them riots breaking out for days and days and days, that George Floyd story probably wouldn't have gotten the attention that it had gotten.
Mhm.
Like them riots is what started the attention that it needed to get the justice that we got. And that's why in that situation I did agree with the rioting because sometimes you have to riot to get their attention. Them in public offices, them the judges, the police officers to investigate, to do their things because they know like only way we can bring these riots to an end if we do our what we do the work on our part to make sure that the proper justice is taken.
It's very true. Now, one of our one of our audience members here said that stand proud. Don't push your views in a dangerous settings or ways. That's true. We're not trying to push in any which direction whatsoever. To me, like I said, I don't believe in riots. I understand that your protesting should be safe and controlled. I don't believe that. To me, burning government vehicles and buildings down is going to get you somewhere in life. No different than or looting. Destroying property and buildings and stealing.
See, oh crap! During the whole George Floyd thing, I didn't see a lot of looting. I just saw more of burning things down. And like I said, when they did those things, it was to basically get the government's attention. Like, okay, so you guys are not going to listen to us protesting and marching, so we're going to get your attention another way. We're gonna burn your things down, or we're going to do something to get your attention to let you know, like, hey, this isn't right, and we're not standing for it no more. And I believe, like I said, I believe those riots had to happen to get the change that we got going on now. Like, you think if they would have just did the respectful, peaceful protesting or whatever, do you think that we would have the police reform that we got today? The police reform only happened that we got today because these people were rioting and burning things down. Like, people got to realize for years and years and years, innocent minorities, not just blacks, but Mexicans and Indians and so on, has been getting murdered by police officers for generations and getting away with it.
That's true. That is
And
true.
so, how do we get their attention? We burn the things down. We burn their things down. We get sometimes. I don't agree with this all the time, but in that situation, I totally understood a lot of those people' feelings and emotions. Now, in some of the cities, a lot of the rioting that did started were not by the people who were actually protesting or doing these things. A lot of those was brought the Proud Boys actually started some of
Yeah.
those riots themselves to make it look like these
Mhm.
were angry black people out here just burning down things for no reason.
And it's true. A lot of them because and this has been going on again. Like all these different groups. This
Mm-hmm.
someone said this started with Obama. Again, no. Again, false. False information. Again, not true. This has been brewing up for years. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We had President Trump in. Okay. and then now we have President Biden in. Okay, now we understand that things grew out of control, and people wanted to, do, this and that and try to take over, but it doesn't always work in that direction. So sometimes you have to understand that. I mean, it's fine to get out there and be, get out there and show your, strengths, and
Mm-hmm.
be like, listen, by the way, this is not called for. It's unprofessional. People are getting killed. Okay, we need to look into this, and
Yeah.
and and it's true. Yeah, this has been going on. Yeah, you're right. This is actually one of our audience members said this has been going on since Abraham Lincoln. So just think, when Abraham Lincoln set everyone free, okay, okay,
Uh-huh.
that was a slave, okay, and I don't like to use that word, okay, I'm sorry, that's a very negative word, okay, I'm sorry to say this, but when that started, that's when you started getting all these little groups together, and that's when
Mm-hmm.
things started, and by all means, I mean, they're right. I don't know the whole logistics from Lincoln till now, but I can say there's been stuff going on throughout the years.
So the reason why that stuff happened is because they couldn't have slaves anymore. They still had to figure out a way of how to control minorities. So what do? They form these groups that make things harder, to make it hard for them to live.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them slaves came from who went generations with nothing now, and like I said, it's like it's just been little things that has happened over time since slavery to keep control of the minority. Because if you keep controlling them, and like for instance, like minority areas wouldn't have like the best schooling or the best access to education, or even like look at Flint, they didn't have the best access to water, clean water. So they do things to keep that minority group in like this box. And then some of those minority people over time, like now, have gotten so used to living in their box that they're scared to go outside that box, because that's how they figured out how to control them. Like, oh yeah, let's give them public housing and give them this, and then we're gonna watch them kill each other over stuff that's owned by us.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
that's what's been going on for years. And like I said, now we one thing I can say about the Generation Z is that they have watched and learned from a lot of our mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
And you see some of them, not you see some of them, I'm gonna say majority of them, trying to make a difference. You see them doing the work that's needed. You see them going out and willing to do the changes that needs to be done. And I think it might not be until Generation Z is in their 40s. More, I will be probably 80 by then and probably won't live to see it. But I say give them to about their 40s, and if I'm around to see it, this will be a total different world than
Oh,
what we know, that a less hateful world.
it'll take the word hate, and it will just completely erase the word altogether. It'll be gone. It'll be
Yeah,
gone. And so that's what we're going with. That's we're trying
yeah.
to. Wait, you know what? It if people, like even obviously even say myself, yes, even the same way with what comes after Gen Z. Ooh, I don't know. Good question. That's a good
Gen
question.
Y.
I
I don't
don't
know.
know.
They're gonna
I
go
don't
back.
know.
They're gonna go to Gen Y, and then they're gonna go do the alphabet backwards.
They're gonna do maybe AZ. I don't know.
I
I
mean,
don't
they
know.
should be lucky because at least they got a letter. I mean, my generation, we ain't getting no Gen nothing. We was just called millennials.
Yeah,
We
millennials.
didn't we didn't get a generation nothing. We didn't get a ZXY nothing. We just say, oh, you're millennials. Like, oh God, well, that means we're the stupid ones.
Gen M's. That's what you are. The Gen M's. The gems. You're the gems. You're the gems, buddy. So yeah, and the same bullshit also goes for women. Just think how the same for women. Women have been controlled by the system
Mm-hmm.
since since the United States has been around.
That
Uh,
is true.
and so these days, you're connected to your job to pay your bills.
Mm-hmm.
Your own person, and this sounds so bad to say this. People, this may kill us, but your own personal, you know, slave to this environment.
Oh yeah, just because we're not out picking cotton or doing whatever it is that slave we're doing, we're still slaves to
You
because
know,
we
we're
gotta
still
we gotta pay
slaves
bills to live.
to the man. We are still, and it's sad. It is very,
And,
very sad.
and have y'all realized that we are the only creatures on this planet that gotta pay to live here?
Yeah.
The only creatures on this planet that gotta pay to live here. That is sad.
Oh, so the new gen is going to be Gen Alpha. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, it's the
Who's that scientific person over there?
She's the one with the adult toys that we're going to have her on.
I can't wait for that because I buy a lot of that stuff.
So by all means, we never give out names. We just have audience members. That's what they are. They're on our Clapper Live. So what happened?
That's a good wine.
My cup's empty. Look at my cup's empty. Look at it's empty.
So we're almost at that mark because I started according to the Zoom chat, we've been in here for an hour 30 minutes. Although we haven't been recording for an hour 30 minutes. I have no exact time where we at right now. So I'm gonna start heading towards wrapping it up.
Okay. So Martel, first of all, don't forget, check us out at direct.me/Same Cast Different Day Podcast. That's our website. And
direct.me/Martel Roland and direct.me/Crystal B.
And don't forget now, you can check out Martel Roland at these socials.
So you can find me on the Twitter, the Instagram, the Facebook, the TikTok, and now the Clapper at Martel Roland.
And this sweet little lady here down below him, Crystal B, you can check me out. You can check me. My voice sounds lovely tonight. By all means, I didn't get enough tea. I didn't get enough tea to drink tonight. So you can check me out on Facebook at Crystal B. Check me out on TikTok, Clapper, and where's the other one?
Instagram.
I'm sorry. There we go. We almost lost that one. Check me out on Facebook at Crystal B. Check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Clapper at Miss Care Bear WI. By all means, and
don't forget to head over to cafepress.com/SCDD podcast to get your official podcast merch, like this lovely shirt that I'm wearing right now. And for you audio listeners who are listening on Spotify and all these other things, you can head over to my Instagram page, which is at Martel Roland, and you can see the podcast shirt. And then, or you can watch the video version to also see the podcast shirt. Here we go, podcast shirt, bound. There we go, bound. So, yeah, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast Different Day Podcast.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'll drink to that.
Cheers. I got nothing there, but that's okay.
I will add a conclusion of the chronicles that I was talking about earlier in the podcast. So make sure that you guys tune in to the next episode to get that finished. And we will see you all next week.
There we go. We'll see you. Bye, everyone.